Welcome back to the McBride Experience. I'm your host, Jake Knight, and joined again by Aaron and Jay. And today we're pulling back the curtain on a part of luxury homeownership that often goes unseen, but never unnoticed. McBride's Concierge aftercare services, from wine cellar management to seasonal prep, event coordination beyond. This is where the white glove service meets everyday living. Let's dive in. So first, what exactly is concierge aftercare, concierge services? How does that differ from standard property management?
Well, for example, property management, oftentimes when people think about that, they're thinking about someone servicing their furnace or their AC units and making sure the infrastructure of the home is properly maintained and cared for. Same thing with the exterior, the grounds, handling things like pest control, lawn care, snow removal, making sure the roof and windows are operating the way they should, and so those sorts of things, right? Concierge is now taking a turn to, all right, these are things that are more luxury, service-oriented things that enhance your lifestyle or your experience while you're here. Things like when you arrive to the airport, do you need a vehicle? So we'll make sure a vehicle's there at the airport waiting for you. Meal prep, would you like to have meals brought to you? From a private or personal chef, we have those, that we can allocate to your residents, whether they bring a meal to you or they cook there. Same thing with mixologists. We have in-house sommeliers that can do wine pairings, that can do private tastings, but they can also, do events and so forth. So some of those sorts of things, cellar management, as far as bars go, we have a lot of clients now that are big into bourbon. And so we have, we can design, build, and maintain and manage cellars, bourbon rooms, man caves, stuff like that. So kind of getting into those sorts of luxury items.
Excellent. Anything else to add to that?
Yeah, just to wrap it up in one brief setting, I think it's the experience, right? It's all about giving them the white glove experience, which isn't just property management. That's going to take it to another level of service. We are in the service industry, but we take service to the next level with our concierge service. So a lot of them don't have time or don't want to take the time to get these services prepped and organized. So we take that off their plate, and when they're here, they just get to enjoy why they're here.
Well, I think that's actually part of the reason we're talking about it, because people don't always know that this is an option or something that's available. And you said they're all usually strapped for time. They do want to come up and just enjoy their property without having to worry about going shopping or going to the grocery store or whatever, prepping for guests that are coming. That takes away some of the fun of hosting an event, by doing that. So let's talk about the wine cellar management. What does that look like, maybe on a month-to-month basis for the clients, how it gets set up? What can you share about that?
Well, really, it's client-driven. So each client's going to be a little bit different in what their needs are, how many events they do or guests they have. But we have a little unique ability in that sense. Is like Aaron mentioned, we have a personal som that comes in and can either do tastings with them to help them determine what type of wine they like, and to also manage their wine cellar for upcoming events or just for normal everyday stuff. So Aaron can talk a little bit probably about the app that he found actually, that is a really cool thing to help manage the cellar.
Yeah, we have this software that, this app that really helps to give you all the information that you're looking for, especially if you need help with what should I have to pair with this meal? What bottle should I be looking at? Or when should I be drinking this bottle? Sometimes people will have a bottle and they wonder, when is it going to go bad? When do I need to drink this by? It has all that data in there. It lets you know when the ideal time to consume that bottle is, what you should pair it with, and so many other details. Also, what temperature to store it at, so many other things. So it gives you that information that's so helpful. There's such a variety of wine, so many different vintages, and all those different things. Even, the sky's the limit with information on wine. And so to be able to have all of that at your disposal really helps you to navigate that experience well. And
Well, you mentioned that we were just talking about how people don't always have a lot of time to do this, and the app sounds great. But what about the homeowner or the property owner that they don't know what temperature, and they've got the app and they could follow it? How does that benefit, or how can they benefit from the service if maybe they don't want that much detail, but they want someone to still help them and provide? What can we do there?
Well, Jay said it, experience, right? So it's all about the experience. We're hoping to take the stress away. We're hoping to take the work out of the way so that you just enjoy that experience. And so with that, we actually work with people who aren't even big wine drinkers, but they have parties, they have gatherings, and so they want to have something nice for those that they have over that do appreciate and enjoy a good bottle of wine. So they want to be prepared for that, and our son has successfully converted some who had previously not been wine drinkers. Now they love it. So careful, she'll work on you in that way, but she just has a passion for wine, and so she just wants to share that passion. Whether you have a large wine cellar that's temperature controlled with vintages, I mean, sky's the limit, or if it's more of a smaller cellar that's just there for special occasions or just occasional bottle to pull. She's happy either way. She just wants to share that passion.
I think to go along with that, she can also, to take the ease of it, right? If they don't want to get on the app, she can say this row and this row, is for this. You can pull any bottle. Perfect. And she's done that for me, because I think what he's referring to is the person that didn't like wine, myself, and she's converted into a wine drinker, not as much as some, but I've learned to appreciate it more because of the pairing with different things, and just being able to pull a bottle and say, "Oh, this is going to pair well with this." It's just really nice when you have guests over. You don't have to think about it. She takes that work away.
One experience, what was it, Bordeaux's? He was, I don't like Bordeaux's. There's something in a Bordeaux that he didn't care for. And Ashley was able to identify what it was into a Bordeaux, and then give him another offering of a Bordeaux-like from a different region. So it turns out he does like Bordeaux's, but from a particular region he didn't. So she was able to discern that based on asking more questions and figuring out what it was about that particular wine. And so now he is a Bordeaux fan, and just not from certain regions.
And that's what you wouldn't know, and that's why the service is so important. And like you said, you don't want to stress out about what wine to get and how to pair it, and no stress. I love that. That's really awesome.
And over time, she learns your tastes. So everything that you'll have in that cellar will be tailored to your preferences. So over time, she learns that, and what wines you're drinking regularly. And and as she interacts with you, she gets to know your tastes very well, and then compare. So that whole cellar will be things that you'll be excited to drink.
That, which is incredible. I think everybody would like. Probably one of the worst things is buying a bottle of nice wine and that you don't like. There's that. But let's say we have a big gathering. We go through all the wine. We go through a bunch of wine with friends and family. How does it get refilled? Like, what's that process like? Does she have to stop over and inventory everything all the time, or how does that work?
And so she has check-ins. So that's what she'll do, is she'll periodically check in and see how the everything's going. But also that app, she has a login for that as well, so she can actually see that. So she can determine, their cellar is running low, and even jump ahead of that and say, hey, I see your cellar needs some help. Would you like me to restock it? What are we looking? Depending on the season, maybe it's sure. I'm gonna stock more rosés, whites, so forth, or some bubblies. Whatever the preference is. Seasonally, people have different tastes, so she'll cater to that.
That's fantastic. Okay, so you've got the wine drinkers, but then you also have the bourbon drinkers. So let's talk a little bit about how do you help bourbon collectors? How do you help, kind of curate that experience for those that really enjoy bourbon?
Well, as with anything, it's about relationships, right? So over the years, Aaron and I are both bourbon collectors, and we've find a lot of joy in that. And another part of that is just finding the relationships of people that you can get this allocated bourbon from. And it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, but we find the joy in. We call it bourbon hunting.
Yeah.
But it really is, it's a lot of fun to get to know them, and then they get to know you, and it's fun for them, it's fun for us to find these allocated bottles, these super rare bottles that, we'll call each other, look what I found, So it's just a lot of fun. We find great passion in it. As you can see behind us, this is a great collection. It's obviously taken some years for this to happen, but we were privileged enough to be able to build this. And it really took off, and there's a lot of bottles on these shelves. So we're pretty proud of what was created here.
Yeah. Well, question we get asked all the time is, where'd you find this? How'd you get this? And so, as Jay mentioned, with relationships, we've traveled, we've had many trips to Kentucky, and other places. So we've visited distilleries, we've cultivated relationships, in the bourbon community that, thankfully, that has given us access to a lot of bottles that just simply are not on the shelves, nor will they be. And so we have access to that. So, when we start working with clients that are connoisseurs like we are, we're happy to share those. We're happy to start working with them, building their collection, so that they have some bottles that they're really excited about. They're looking forward to cracking. And just like wine, we feel a good bottle of bourbon should be enjoyed on special occasions with good friends. There's so many good memories that come from that. So
Nice. Do you have an example of one of those special bottles by any chance?
We might.
Oh, look at that.
We pulled one off the shelf.
So this one is a pretty rare bottle that Aaron and I both got together. It was a great experience. We were meeting with the guy that was giving us access to this bourbon, and we both seen this bottle. And I immediately grabbed it, and he was like, oh, I could see. He was like, I wanted that, And I looked at him and said, well, if you're not grabbing this, I'm grabbing this bottle because I know what this is. He says, oh, I know what this is too.
We were playing hot potato with him
Potato.
for a second.
I wanted him to have it. He
grabbed
wanted me to have it.
He gave it to me, and I'm like, no, I can't take this. Give it back to him.
So we only crack these special bottles with each other, which is another unique thing.
That's cool.
So we'll have a night where we just decide, what bottles, what special bottle, what's the occasion,
Yeah.
and why are we cracking it. And it also gives it more meaning when we do crack it, I feel.
Well, and like you said, Aaron, or maybe Jay, maybe you said it, but it is an experience when you're spending time with them and you're having more intimate moments, with friends and family and sharing, sharing a unique bottle like that. So that's very cool. So when next time you say you're going on a work trip to Kentucky, now I know what you mean.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes.
Yep. So how about this this white glove property management, the white glove concierge service for, a lot of seasonal things are happening. What does this look like for, when people aren't around, or is there anything that the concierge service does for individuals while they're gone, before they arrive? We talked about some of the wine and some of the other services. Maybe you can just go into a little more detail about that.
Well, another thing we love to do in Northern Michigan is be on the water. We have a shorter season.
Yep.
Of just beautiful days to be on the water. And so when our clients arrive, time is of the essence, to really enjoy to the full their time here. And so we'll service their boats, their jet skis, whatever that is. We'll get it ready for them. We'll bring it to their dock. We'll get it all prepped, ready to go. So all they got to do is walk down the dock and hop on, and away they go and enjoy the day, instead of having to arrive, make sure the boat works, the battery's dead, or, that whole song and dance is taken care of for them, so that they don't have any of those stresses or worries. We got it.
Also, most of them have like what's called a gem car. So it's just a smaller car, and we maintain those and their vehicles in the garage. We usually take those for service at that time when they're gone. We make sure they're all prepped, ready to go, full of fuel. And, so when they get there, there's nothing they have to worry about. They don't have to worry about a dead battery and, the car not starting. And we've already had it prepped and ready to go for them. So it means a lot when they get there, and they can be assured that we're there taking care of them behind the scenes. So they're usually goes off pretty seamlessly.
Even groceries, there are certain markets, local markets, that they really want, that make some great, dips, sandwiches, have really good cheeses and other meats and, different deli things that are just locally grown and everything that they love to get. So we have personal shoppers that will go and stock their refrigerators, make sure they pick up the goods that, they particularly enjoy, and according to their diets and allergies and so forth, they'll tailor those selections to them as well. So that way they don't come in and they're starving and nothing to eat.
Yeah, because you certainly don't want food that's been in the refrigerator for 6 months. So that's wonderful. So, but I also appreciate that you said with special dietary needs, because that's also very common to have some things you can and can't have. And so if you were just to go a more generic service, you might end up with a smattering of things that wouldn't actually be edible based on your diet. So thank you for mentioning that. What systems do you guys have in place, does McBride have in place, so that nothing slips through the cracks? Because you're talking about, there's a lot of things that, almost like an orchestra, right? There's all these different pieces and moving parts that come together for this beautiful experience. But how do you ensure that turns out the way that you'd hope?
Well, we're huge on checklists. We always tell the crew or the team that every pilot goes through a checklist. And the reason they go through a checklist is they have lives on the line. We don't necessarily have lives on the line, but the importance of the experience when they get there, if they were to miss something, is what are they going to remember? They're going to remember what you missed, not what you did correctly. So they go through these detailed checklists, make sure they're all checked off, and that way, when they arrive, everything is done that they've asked for. So if they add something, the checklist gets updated, and it's in their Builder Trend portal, so the client can see that the checklist was done and what sequence it's done. So that way they know for sure when they get there, everything that they've asked for has been completed.
Oftentimes we find that helps trigger their memory too. So when they see that checklist of all the things completed, there's usually a special, unique request that isn't on the checklist. So when they're going through, oh yeah, can you also get this and this? And they can respond through that portal. And then that lets us know that we can take care of it. And then we also upload that, let them know, hey, take pictures. This has been taken care of. It's all done. And that gives them the peace of mind knowing, okay, great, we're all set.
Yeah, I think that peace of mind is actually probably more important than we can say, or we probably can't overstate that enough, because when you are looking to come enjoy, and if you've got friends and family or you're hosting guests, that's the last thing you want, is any one of those things to not be there and not right, and to create or curate a nice experience for them. That really says a lot about their attention, the homeowner's attention to detail, because they want this too. So thank you for sharing about that. Any other thing that you haven't seen yet in the concierge service that you'd like to see? Or I can start giving you some other ideas of things I'd like to see, but anything that you think would be like really neat, or maybe it's an example of something that has been done, just kind of like an out there.
We haven't asked for a pilot to be on a private jet yet, but that might be.
I'm sure that's coming.
Or a boat captain.
Boat captain.
Okay.
Usually those are things that's already taken care of, aside from us, but.
Okay, but you're saying that's open though. If you'd like to be a pilot or a boat captain, that's open. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, going back to experience, our goal is we absolutely love the area we live, and we look forward to Northern Michigan summers probably just as much as everyone else. And so we know what that feels like to be chomping at the bit to enjoy the best that Northern Michigan has to offer. And so we also know the things that get in the way of that. So our hope is to minimize that, to take care of all of those things so that you can just come here and enjoy yourself. And so that's our hope. That's what we're leaning into. And if we can keep implementing new things that will help ensure that that's a reality, that's what we want.
Nice. Any final words for those that might be thinking about utilizing this service from McBride?
I think once you try it, you wouldn't have anything else. Just like anything in life, if it's easy, as humans, we tend to gravitate towards that. We found most of our clients really enjoy it too. They get there, everything's set, ready to go. We get really good positive feedback on the services we offer comparatively to other services in the area. So that gives us a great sense of accomplishment too. We're giving them what they don't normally get, even in other areas where they have other homes. They don't get the level of service that we give them. So that's pretty cool.
We were just a quick experience just recently. It was nice. It was nice to hear. But we had a client that, they came up and they let us know that their biggest reservation with getting a house in Northern, they're used to bigger areas that have access to, sky's the limit services, and their biggest hesitation with buying a beautiful home on the lake was, can I still get that same level of service in a smaller town? And so he admitted that he almost didn't buy this house. And he talked to our team, and he said, this is the best decision I've made, because he's now able to get all those things that he was worried that he wouldn't, but still get to enjoy this quiet, beautiful area. Quiet, relatively speaking, but in the summer it's not so quiet, but everyone's enjoying it together. But it was really heartwarming for us to hear that he was concerned about it, but we were able to allay those concerns, and now he's just over the moon with everything and has that peace of mind that he was initially worried about.
And don't you find that the case, that oftentimes people will keep some of those apprehensions at bay until they realize they're taken care of, and then they sort of with a sigh of relief saying, this is so, thank you. Well, thank you both, Aaron and Jay, for sharing that with us. And also nice that we're able to record this episode in one of the homes that McBride has built. And so we're gracious. We're grateful to be able to do that here. And we do believe at McBride that building your dream home is just the beginning. Concierge Aftercare is how we help you live that dream effortlessly, beautifully, and on your terms. Whether it's preserving a rare wine collection, preparing your home for a perfect arrival, or managing every detail behind the scenes, our goal is simple: to make luxury feel easy. Thanks for joining us on the McBride Experience. If you'd like to learn more about our concierge services or share a story of your own, visit us at McBrideCustomHomes.com. Until next time, here's to homes that work for you even when you're not there.
Now let's have some bourbon. Oh, that was good.